Welcome back to the Lippert Technical Institute Show, episode number 2. I'm Mark.
And I'm Jason. Last time we got road ready for 2026, but today we're diving into the wet stuff. You ready to talk about some plumbing?
Boy, am I ever. Soon we're going to cover just what to do if you have a leak, and later we're going to talk about how to avoid them should you need to make a repair by covering everything you're going to need to know about PEX and PVC. So stick around, you definitely don't want to miss this. So now that we've seen our good friend Brian go for something of a swim, let's take a little adventure over to my mock-up to see what to do next. Well, let's get right to it. Just what are you gonna do when that new pool comes for you? Let's flip this around and find out. Perfect.
First rule, don't panic. Turn off the water pump and the city water connection immediately.
Step 1, find the source. And one trick I use, especially if we're unsure where the leak is coming from, is just a simple paper towel test. We can take our roll of paper towel and we are just going to roll this up, stuff it under some of the fittings, and see if it is turning wet when we turn the water back on. Wet paper towels will point to the culprit instantly.
This can reveal anything from a loose P-trap,
It's a P-trap!
to a cracked fitting in the wet bay, hidden leak, etc. Look for stains, soft spots, and musty smells.
Not all water leaks in an RV are caused by bad plumbing. Yes, we have cracked pipes, we have loose fittings, these things can happen, but many of the leaks, they might actually come from places we don't immediately think about. Things like aging roof, or windows, worn slide-out seals, or maybe even exterior fixtures that have lived through a couple of rough seasons. These can all let water slip inside. Wind-driven rain can also be especially sneaky, finding the gaps that we didn't even know existed. And just to keep things interesting, oftentimes the water we see is nowhere actually near the leak, because water, just like me, enjoys a good road trip before settling down.
Ignoring a leak is where minor issues turn into major regrets. A small drip can quietly lead to rotting wood, mold growth, delaminated walls, and floors that feel more like a trampoline than solid ground. Moisture can also damage insulation and electrical components, which is never a fun surprise. Over time, these hidden problems can seriously reduce the value of your RV and rack up repair bills super fast. In the world of RV ownership, water damage has one rule: if you pretend it isn't there, it'll take that personally.
PEX leaks will usually come from bad crimps or loose push fittings, and we can just re-crimp or cut and replace the fitting. But for an emergency fix, I actually recommend a SharkBite style push fittings, as they're reliable and it's very, very fast. You'll just need to make sure that the section you remove from the pipe is the proper size for that to fit in.
PEX and PVC leaks are primarily caused by vibrations during travel, improper installation of fittings, and use of incompatible materials such as the wrong type of glue.
That's right, and for splits and things like waistlines, I recommend that we apply some sort of water weld putty to get you where you need to go until we're able to get that pipe replaced.
So I like to carry a small plumbing kit with things like PEX cutters, crimper, some hose clamps, fittings, epoxy putty, zip ties, etc. Road vibration often loosens these things, so it's good to have them on hand.
That's right, and at the end of the day, we are in an earthquake on wheels, so make sure to check those fittings each season.
All right, shifting to the rigid side, PVC and ABS. Let's go talk about it at the Freedom Express.
Come on.
PVC is best for water pressure, low cost, and durability, but requires a two-part primer and glue system. ABS, on the other hand, is stronger, more impact resistant, and handles colder temperatures better. It's also easier to install with a one-step adhesive, but it is more expensive and it's unsuitable for direct sunlight. PVC is typically preferred for indoor plumbing and water lines, while ABS is often used for drain, waste, and vent.
Why two materials? Codes and practicality. Both work, but always check your RVIA manual or your local regulations.
Regardless of which one we are working on, cutting is the key. A ratcheting cutter gives a clean, square cut. If you're using a saw, use a miter box and a fine-tooth blade, then deburr with sandpaper or a knife. Jagged edges can catch debris and cause clogs. You always want to dry fit everything together. Before gluing it all together, make sure that all the angles and lengths work out. Once we are ready, we can go ahead and add our adhesive to the outside of the pipe and then to the inside of the fitting. The adhesives actually soften the plastic for a chemical weld. Push and then twist the pipe a quarter of a turn. Hold it for 30 seconds until it sets up. It is critical to add that twist. Inside the fitting is a taper, and as you push the pipe in, pressure will build. If you don't hold it for 15 to 30 seconds, that pressure can push the pipe back out and cause leaks later.
Ventilation is also huge. Huffing up the fumes just ain't no bueno.
Depending on the size of the pipe, RVIA requires piping to slope at a minimum of 1/4 inch per foot, or 1/8 of an inch for larger pipes to avoid pooling.
Traps matter.
Anti-poo trap.
P-traps under the sinks and showers keep sewer smells out, and if you do have a clog, do not use any Drano or any other abrasive cleaners. Instead, use a plastic drain snake.
These pipes are tough and cheap, but if you do it wrong, you'll be smelling some serious trouble on every trip.
Coming up after the break, we're going to be talking about PEX, but I'm not talking about these beauties. I'm talking about PEX, where we're going to crimp, we're going to cut, and give you everything you need to know to install it properly.
At the Lippert Technical Institute, we believe knowledge is the key to confidence, safety, and success. Whether you're a service technician or an RV owner, we're here to help you enhance your skills and deepen your product knowledge. Our mission is simple: to provide comprehensive, high-quality technical resources for anyone who needs them. Through in-person and online courses, we empower you to master your craft and tackle any challenge. At our state-of-the-art training facility, we offer over 60 specialized courses on RV products. With hands-on experiences, small group settings, and access to over 200 training aids, you'll gain the personalized attention and expertise you need. By the end of your training, you'll confidently identify parts, understand how they work, troubleshoot like a pro, and handle preventative maintenance with ease. It's more than training, it's a pathway to becoming an industry leader. With both in-person and online options, learning at the Lippert Technical Institute fits your schedule, your goals, and your lifestyle. Visit support.lci1.com to explore our event calendar and discover upcoming training opportunities. At the Lippert Technical Institute, we're here to ensure you're equipped, empowered, and ready to succeed. Lippert Technical Institute, where knowledge meets confidence.
Lastly, let's talk some PEX.
Did you know that RVs from the 60s, 70s, and even some in the 80s still used copper pipe for plumbing?
Yeah, and for those people, PEX might be the upgrade they don't even know they need. It's a type of cross-linked polyethylene that's super flexible and freeze-resistant compared to some of the more traditional residential plumbing.
Why not just stick with copper or CPVC? Isn't PEX kind of a new thing?
Yeah, fair question. Copper is great in houses, but it kinks and it freezes, especially more so when it's cold, and soldering in a cramped RV space would be absolutely awful. PEX also expands and contracts with temperature changes, giving a little bit more forgiveness than maybe a copper or PVC or ABS, any of that sort of thing. It's much, much easier to install. And here on our countertop mock-up, we have a real lifelike RV sort of bath setup. What I would like to do is install a shutoff valve on our cold line that will make it much easier to turn off the water in instances that we need, but it also serves as a good reminder as to how the PEX rings will fit on and the fittings as well. So the first thing we want to do is focus on making the proper cut. This is the very first best step in working on PEX, and we're going to always make sure to use a dedicated PEX cutter when we do so. We're simply going to line it up, squeeze slow and steady. And what we're looking for is a perfectly square cut with no burrs, which a utility knife might not offer, and you could have something of a jagged cut if you were to use one.
Yeah, people try to save a buck and usually regret it later. Brian.
There really are only two main ways that we're going to connect PEX together, and the first is the crimp ring. This is what you're going to see most often, and it secures the pipe to the fitting like we have here. The other type of fitting is a push fitting, something like a SharkBite or something similar, which are great for quick repairs. They could be a little bit long-term, but you're often more so going to see crimps for permanent installs because of things like affordability. First, we want to slide the crimp ring over the PEX and then push the PEX onto the fitting. Position the ring about 1/8 to 1/4 inch from the end and then crimp. We want to make sure to listen for that distinct click.
What if the crimp ring isn't far enough onto the fitting?
If the crimp ring is not far enough onto the fitting, it might not hold tight enough and could leak. And if it's too far towards the end, it might not hold either. So the best thing to do is make sure it's within that time frame and try and avoid the classic mistake, which is forgetting it altogether.
Solid advice. PEX seems pretty forgiving once you get the basics down.
Yeah, for sure. And as a final tip, if you need to remove a crimp, the easiest way is to get under the lip with some sort of pry tool like a flathead screwdriver, or we can cut the crimp using a cutting tool and then we'll just twist it off.
Bottom line, catch it early and fix it quick.
Plumbing doesn't have to be scary, just remember what we've told you.
That's episode 2 in the books. Thank you so much for joining us.
Subscribe, like, and turn on all notifications so you can catch future content.
Stay dry.